So this week we took our kid to a local elementary school on whose campus sits the county preschool trailer. And we had him evaluated to determine whether or not he would be a good fit for the county's special education program. And I have some very good news, which is that we made it off of campus without being shot. Welcome to another episode of Gribbly's Sunday Anti-Socials, where I talk about whatever I want. I bequeath to you spiritual nuggets, and I answer all the questions that you might have asked this past week with the hashtag Gribbs Answers. Ask Gribbs. This is hashtag Grib Answers, right? I will answer any question. Anything you've ever wanted to know, things that are unknowable, things about which I have no technical authority or expertise at all. I will answer those questions, and I will even source characters in my life if I need a more specific answer. This week we have our first answer to hashtag Ask Gribbs to Ask the Witch questions. So stay tuned for that. And now we got to talk about something serious and not fun at all. By way of stalling, I'm smoking a Missouri Meerschaum Stubby that doesn't really look too stubby anymore, does it? The little Italian acrylic bits that come with these things. Sorry. Things are all chaotic in here because I keep trying to take my weight off my bad angle, but it never works. These things, the little stubby bits that come with these and the Dagner, those things have never agreed with me, so it's just not stubby anymore. I like it. It's working better. Drinking some black coffee, and in this pipe I'm smoking Old Ironsides from Dan Tobacco. Okay, down to business. Damn. I don't want to talk about this. I have 3 times tried to make a video about this. And each time I fail and delete all the files. Well, I went back, and last time I had 21 takes of me trying to talk about this subject. So I'm going to do this in 1 take, and you're just going to have to deal with whatever I say. The shooting in Parkland, Florida. I've been really torn up. I'm always torn up after these things. I hope you're torn up too if you're a decent human being. And I've been dreading this Sunday because I knew I would have to make a video, and I felt blocked. I felt like I can't think about anything else. There's nothing else on my mind. I'm so concerned about this. And I also, at the same time, don't want to be one of those channels that always has to make a response video to every tragedy in the news. And I certainly don't want to be one of those channels that, like, puts on a sad face and titles the video "My Response to Whatever" and then tries to get views from that. YouTube has a healthy population of response channels, and that's not what I want to be. So I hope I can offer a unique perspective on this. The Gribblarian view. All right, 1 take, but I'm going to pause it. Our national conversation is now about the AR-15, right? That's what everyone's talking about. Do we ban the AR-15? Do we give the teachers AR-15s? Do we give the students AR-15s? I don't know. The Gribblarian view on this thing, and I'm going to try to explain this with no emotion, with just say it. I'm just going to say it. It's a distraction. Not the shooting itself. The shooting itself obviously is a real thing that really does, require our emotional investment. But the national conversation that we're having now, it's a distraction. The AR-15 doesn't matter. And I know there's a lot of gun guys cheering when I say that. And I just made a video about military surplus rifles in which I established my right-wing gun nut cred, right? The AR-15 doesn't matter. But let me rephrase that. Your AR-15 doesn't matter. banning the AR-15, not going to stop school shootings. AR-15s in the hands of the populace, not going to stop tyranny. And there's been unsolicited, there have been some arguments or debates in my comments about this, whether or not it could stop tyranny. It's not going to stop tyranny. Furthermore, the people that have the AR-15s, if they spent their energy stopping tyranny, we'd be much further along that road than we are now. Because they hold so dear, these AR-15s. And look, you got an AR-15, great. I've always wanted one. I've actually looked into buying one since this thing happened, and I just can't justify the expense. Wonderful. I have nothing against AR-15s. What I'm trying to say is, what about the Fourth Amendment? What about the First Amendment? What about the fact that there is not a single ounce of American originalism left to defend with your AR-15? Why aren't we concerned about that? It's so easy to get caught up in this thing that you can hold in your hand, this thing that has these super duper emotional charges to it. American politicians love AR-15s because it's a single thing. Either you've got one and you love it, or you've never touched one, you've never been in a room with one and you're terrified of it. And that motivates people to the polls. Just like gay marriage, either you got a lot of friends that are gay, you're gay yourself, you're gay and you're married, so you're totally for gay marriage, or you don't really know any gay people, you think it's a sin, so you're totally against it. Either way, it is an issue that doesn't really matter in terms of the standard of living that we enjoy. Doesn't really matter, but it gets people to the polls. That's what the AR-15 is for both sides here. And my question to you is, when you're fighting on Facebook about banning assault weapons or not, or when you're investing in your AR-15 or not, how could you be spending that energy fixing our diseased fucking society? How could, what they don't want us to do is actually think, wait a minute, what is my personal responsibility to try to keep this thing from happening again? And I've thought a lot about this in the past 10 days. And it's very, very difficult for me to say I have a personal responsibility, because that means I have some sort of moral culpability in these things. Well, I haven't even been in a school. I mean, we toured preschools. And by the way, my kid does not qualify for special ed, which I think is good, right? But then they say it like, oh, I'm so sorry, you don't qualify for our services. Everybody that's in this social program wants you to be in that social program too. And so they apologize that our kid doesn't need special ed. I don't know. But what I do know is all the laws, all the social programs, all the investing in mental health, all the banning of whatever you want to ban, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's already shown itself to be ineffective. This kid broke so many laws. The state knew about this kid at every level, at every opportunity they had. They could have said, out of our system, we're gonna help you. We're gonna mental health you up, whatever. No one did shit. The FBI knew, they didn't do shit. And now they're asking for more power, or now they're arguing against more power. It's a distraction from the question of, what can I be doing? How can I be a better neighbor to my neighbors? Or how can I be a better parent to my kid and the kids that are going to go to school with my kid? What can I do? What can each of us do? And even if it's something that's so unrelated that it doesn't even seem like it matters, let me throw this at you. This kid commented on YouTube. This kid watched YouTube. He commented on a channel that he was going to go shoot up a school. And I don't know what channel that was. I'm sure it wasn't a pipe channel. We're all, if you're a pipe channel with, I think I've got 750 subscribers now. That's amazing. That's amazing that 750 people want to listen to me talk about pipes and watch me go fail in the woods. And that's a big number. So I'm sure this kid was commenting on a channel with millions of subs and all that. But we all get crazy comments, right? I delete comments all the time because they're just crazy. How do you engage? I'm not saying that this channel did the wrong thing, because they reported him to the FBI and the FBI didn't do shit. So But what could he have done? Well, he said, whoa, man, like, why do you want to shoot up a school? You know, this kid is the product of a lifetime of calling for help or threatening something terrible if you don't want to look at it from the calling for help perspective. He's the product of a lifetime of being reported to systems that don't work. So the systems are done. I'm done with those systems. What can I do? And I don't know yet. I don't know, but it's time for us all to be looking at the problem in that way so that when something comes up that we can do, we're ready to do it. That's what Gribbly thinks of that. All that politics, it's just bullshit to get you to the polls next year. Okay, somehow we're going to move on. This is why I've been in a bad mood. This is why I don't want to make videos. The channel's been quiet. I had the guitar video. Thank you guys for all your comments on that, by the way. But that's what I've been doing, is trying to figure that out. And anyway, though I may not be in the mood for this, I'm not quite as chipper as I usually am. The show is not called Ask Gribbs to Procrastinate Another Week. The show is called Ask Gribbs, so I must answer. When you ask Gribbs, Gribbs gives you an answer. Billy Smock says, what is your name? Gribbs. What is your quest to beat the Ender Dragon? What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Wait a minute. Is this a Monty Python? Wait, hold on. No, don't be infesting my channel with your European socialism. What is this, like Northern Bohemian or something? Typing Piper asks Gribbs, hey Gribbs, are you still writing on your blog? And Typing Piper, I mentioned to you, well, I responded directly to your larger comment. But here's sort of the thing with the blog is that I don't have time. I don't have time, and I miss being able to write on it because what I just talked about, the AR-15 as the national distraction, it would have been much easier to succinctly say what I wanted to say in writing rather than get all fired up about it on here. And the problem is, though, it takes time to do that. It takes a lot of energy to do that, and then no one reads it. People don't read blogs anymore, and I have to think about that when I've got something I feel like I really want to say. You know, I can put it on my blog and 20 people might look at it, or I can say it on here where everyone actually is, and everyone's talking on YouTube, and YouTube is the place where people are now, and it's not a writer's world anymore, and so I just kind of have to accept that. Having said that, I really do miss it, and I really do miss, like, taking a good, well-considered photo, and being able to blog about the experience of taking that photo, as opposed to just shooting something with my phone when I'm out in the woods and putting it on Instagram. So I'm conflicted about that. Don't know how it's going to go going forward. John Goldieri, Paulie's brother, asks, says he's got a buddy that has level 99 death on sight as opposed to my level 50 shamanism. And I will say this, death on sight's handy. That's cool and all. But for example, I think I win style points, because I can. Well, I'll just show you. So Shovel and Shane came over last night to play a little Minecraft, and I was so worked up about everything. My shamanism was just throbbing, and the minute he walked in the door, I accidentally turned him into a small wooden sculpture of a miner smoking a pipe. So just get the beard and everything. So death is okay, but it's just kind of generic. It's just kind of generic. When you're a level 50 shaman like me, you go for style points. Pan Chuchin, boy, that's a pagan channel name if I ever heard one. What are you, a witch? Pan says, hashtag Ask Gribbs, how old were you when you first realized that strange things were indeed afoot at the Circle K? Probably like 18 months. I think that was when it really set in. No, I mean, I grew up with the X-Files, man. This was indoctrinated into me at a very young age. Even though I don't believe in any of this crazy stuff I talk about, I love talking about it. Baldieri also asks, who are your favorite guitarists? And that's a good one. And he made a point to say not the best guitarist, but your favorite guitarist, because everybody's going to say Hendrix and Clapton and all that. Yngwie. This is a really good question. Dave Mustaine. Doc Watson. And the one that kind of comes out of left field, well, Reverend Peyton. Reverend Peyton is a really good guitarist. The one that comes out of left field, though, that people won't expect. Coffee's delicious. Billy Corgan. Billy Corgan is the unsung hero of 90s guitar, and nobody pays attention to his guitar playing because the rest of him is so weird, but he's actually a really, really like virtuosic guitar player, and I think if you can get past how dated the Smashing Pumpkins are and how, I mean, they were my favorite band when I was in high school, and it was, it's hard to listen to it now without feeling a little cringy about some of the stuff, but yeah, man, like the solo for Cherub Rock, God, it's just ridiculous, and anything off Siamese Dream, ridiculous. So I encourage folks to go back, take the trip down memory lane to 1994 or so, and listen to Corgan's solos on that record. It's absolutely unbelievable. Also been considering all week Polly's brother's other question about, he was looking for spiritual nuggets here. So his question was, what kind of guitar would Jesus play? And I had an instinctive response to that, to the question of what axe our Lord would wield. And I wanted to second guess myself. I really tried to justify saying that Christ would play a Telecaster, because that really is my favorite guitar design. And I feel that there is something very sort of gritty and rootsy and very Jesus-y about a Telecaster. But I keep coming back to my first reaction to the question, which is, I believe Christ would play a Strat. Don't know why I think that. Maybe it's the triple pickup thing. Maybe it's the whammy bar. But something about it. A red Strat with maybe a maple fretboard. Yeah. That's what I see him playing. Oh, got some questions and comments and even a video from David35445 about cigar box guitars. I'm sorry that I can't remember who else commented. YouTube did that thing where the comments just disappear. Thanks, YouTube. Hang on. More caffeine will help. Cigar box guitars are awesome. I especially enjoy electrified cigar box guitars. I've never made one myself, which is too bad because I've had access to a lot of cigar boxes and a lot of spare parts. I think I tried to make one time and then just didn't finish it. My theory on guitars, electric guitars, is that 96% of the tone comes from the pickups. It's an electric guitar. And so I've seen guitars made out of all kinds of things that sound great. Or the classic example is you go to the music store and you buy a $99 Affinity Strat and put American pickups in it, and it sounds like an American Strat. That's my Tele, is a Squier Tele, with American vintage pickups in it. It sounds great. So cigar box guitars are just sort of the extreme of that example. You put a nice pickup on them, they're going to sound great. Played acoustically, yeah, they're fine. They're certainly of merit. But I'm not so impressed with this cigar box's ability to project tone compared to like in a band situation. If you got a bunch of people around playing acoustic guitars or banjos or something like that, you're screwed with a cigar box guitar because it just doesn't have the volume. Speaking of, Briar Report asks, what about your banjo? Sir, I'm going to assume you meant no offense, but I do not own a banjo. Got a good comment on my video about lids on 7200. Lids are bad ham radio operators and they hang out on this frequency. 7,200 megahertz or 7.2. You know what I'm saying. So I got, what was the comment this week? Yes. Cole Wayne Thornton says, bald pipe smoking pussy, shut up. And a good day to you, sir. Sound Dude asks, did you ever have a Curio and Relic FFL? For those of you that don't know, that is if you are into collecting antique firearms, you can get your own federal firearms license to transfer just the Curio and Relic firearms, so you can buy, you know, an old rifle without having to jump through all the hoops. And I never did. I was a wee gun nut in the heyday of all that stuff. Used to be able to get some of the rifles that we were talking about in the previous video on Curio and Relic stuff. But I never went down that road because I never had the money to buy the rifles to begin with. I had a few, but not, you know, not enough that it would have made getting that worth it. If I ever win the lottery, I will. Piping Piper asks, which Hunter Thompson book do you enjoy the most? You guys aren't going to like this, but I've never read any. I saw the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and I'm sorry. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. I know I should read them, but I have a stack of books right now to read, and it'll be a while. Like when my kid is in college, that I'll be reading any Hunter S. Thompson. Pipes, etc. asks, what is your favorite hunting rifle and why? Well, I have done very little hunting, only squirrel hunting in my life. And for that, I enjoy using my Marlin 981T, which is a basic 22 long rifle, synthetic stock, nothing special at all. It was very inexpensive, but it is bolt action tube fed. That's what the T stands for. And I really wanted a rifle that was entirely self-contained, that didn't have magazines. And so I like the tube-fed thing where you put 15 rounds in there. And it's a bolt action anyway, so you're not worried about rate of fire, really. And I love that gun. It's great, tack sharp, kill the hell out of some squirrels. Robert Dixon points out that from an anthropological point of view, the ancient shamanic practices were born of schizophrenia. It's just like your opinion, man. Last but not least, Eric's Random World asked Gribbs to ask the witch, my witch friend. I forwarded this question to her. From my understanding, coven ceremonies involve the moon, the woods, and nakedness. Do witches suffer from a higher incident rate of Lyme disease? Which is a pretty fair question. So I forwarded that to the witch. I wrote it down on a piece of paper and put it on a hematite rock and spread some blood on it and burned it. And so she got it, and then she just responded over email, which was really disappointing. Eric's Random World, thank you for your question. There are 8 generally acknowledged witch holidays in a calendar year, notwithstanding the odd full moon / new moon ceremonies. It is true that the moon, nakedness, and the woods all have played substantial roles in these rites in my own experience. However, given that these 3 aspects have all been featured on this channel, and given Gribley's propensity to enter the woods at every available opportunity, I'd say his own own risk of contracting Lyme disease are about 5,000 times more than the average witch. However, one of my coven sisters did get bitten by a tick, and that caused problems that now prevent her from eating the flesh of mammals. Go figure. So I followed up on that, wrote my question down on a little piece of parchment, swabbed some possum bile on it, and burned it, and once again, just responded over email, and whatever. I asked if her coven sister got bitten by a tick in the practice of witchery, and she said no, it was just a random tick bite. So there you go, Eric's Random World. Glad I could be a conduit for this information. For the record, I've only ever been naked on this channel once. I'm not going to give you any more spiritual wisdom because I think the stuff in the beginning about the AR-15, that's as spiritual as I want to get this week. However, I do want to thank you for listening to me talk about that because I really was feeling blocked, like I just couldn't get past it. as a spiritual point. And I hope for many reasons, but least among those reasons, that next week I want to be able to talk about normal things. I hope there's not a mass shooting this week, because there's a bunch of other stuff I want to talk about. I do have 2 videos in the hopper already this week, so it won't be as quiet as it was last week. And then, of course, next Sunday we'll see you right back here for the Gribbs Answers segment of our week. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to submit your questions below. Anything you've ever wanted to know, I can tell you. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.